slabs are a better fuel than charcoal, and cactuses are apparently stronger than netherite. Coming up are the weirdest Minecraft facts you probably didn't know. Frostwalker's main feature is that it creates ice beneath your feet, allowing you to walk on water, but it actually has another hidden feature. With Frostwalker boots equipped, you can't be damaged by magma blocks or campfires. This doesn't work for things like fire and lava, but the fact that it works at all is pretty cool. Get it? Cool. If you run this command, you'll get this special decorated pot. It looks pretty normal to me, so what makes it so special? Whoa, it dropped an emerald, just like the pots from The Legend of Zelda. These would be perfect to place around in your next adventure map, but you could also just set a bunch of them up in one place and satisfyingly smash them all to pieces. In peaceful mode, TNT doesn't deal any damage to players, meaning you can use it to launch yourself sky high. So if you wanted to, you could actually use this as the primary form of transportation around your base. Don't mind me, just heading upstairs. If you summon a ton of blazes to fight a wither, then they'll start doing something kind of funny. The wither keeps flying up to try and get above the blazes, but the blazes keep flying up to try and get above the wither. So they'll just keep going up and up and up forever and ever and ever. The wither will eventually kill all the blazes, so the more you spawn, the higher it'll actually go. But once all those blazes are dead, it's gonna be an incredibly slow descent back to the ground. Apparently, anything that's made of soul fire emits less light than regular fire, meaning nothing made of soul fire can actually melt snow or ice. This doesn't make much sense, since blue fire is technically hotter in real life, and even in the game, soul fire does damage you twice as fast. There must be some soul-based magic going on here. Blue things do tend to be magical in this game. You might like smelting with charcoal, but you should really be using wooden slabs. Well, at least in Bedrock Edition. That's because in this version of the game, if you craft a single log into slabs, they'll be able to smelt 9 items in total, with a spare wooden plank to boot. If you instead turned that log into charcoal, you're only able to smelt 8 items, so the slabs are definitely a better deal. On the other end of the spectrum, if you wanted to be as wasteful as possible, you can smelt your items with chiseled bookshelves. Each of these takes a ton of wood to craft, and they only smelt 1.5 items, so they are genuinely the worst fuel you could possibly use in a furnace. Due to a bug, a player sleeping in a bed has a really tiny hitbox that only exists inside their head. As a result, you can't actually damage a sleeping player unless you slap them across the face. To be fair, that is the most effective way to wake someone up. Players spamming in the chat is super annoying, but luckily, Minecraft has a built-in feature that kicks spammers. Here's the funny part though. If you're completely alone in your single-player world and you spam the chat as fast as you can, you'll actually be kicked out of your single-player world. That's not supposed to happen, is it? The Minecraft paintings are an iconic part of the game, but you may not have known that almost every in-game painting is based on a real-world painting made by Christopher Zetterstrand. Since I've only ever seen these in their super pixelated, blocky form, it's kind of weird to know what each of them is supposed to look like. Like, who actually knew that this was supposed to be a rabbit? Now we'll never unsee it. There are, however, only 5 paintings that aren't based on real pieces of art, including the Wither painting and the 4 secret elemental paintings that you can only get in creative mode. Also, bonus fact, it was really hard to put all the original paintings into a perfect square, but as you can see, it is possible. You can take a screenshot now and copy how I've done it if you'd like. I'm kind of a wuss, so I almost never explore Bastion remnants. That's probably why I never noticed how the entrance to some bastions is meant to resemble a giant piglin head, with menacing basalt teeth and huge glowing lava eyes. This is pretty epic, but my favorite part is this little golden statue at the beginning of the bridge, which I'm pretty sure is meant to be a tiny golden piglin head with quartz tusks. He's just a little baby. Tropical fish spawn with a random shape, a random pattern, and 2 random colors, meaning there are a total of 2,700 different kinds of tropical fish. My favorite part about them, however, is that they each have their own unique name. A vast majority of them are pretty simple, such as the yellow-blue flopper and the purple-pink Betty, but 22 of these tropical fish have special names, including the queen angelfish, the yellowtail parrotfish, the ornate butterfly fish, and everyone's favorite, the clownfish. That's right, we finally found him. So if you like collecting rare things in Minecraft, try your hand at catching these special fish for your aquarium. You probably know that if a zombie drowns, it becomes drowned. It's kind of in the name, but you may not have known that if a husk drowns, it becomes a zombie. zombie. This kind of makes sense, since a husk is just a dried out version of a zombie from the desert. With that in mind, all 3 zombie variants can easily be placed into a moisture tier list like this, with husks having F tier wetness and the drowned easily taking S tier. On another note, since Mojang made it possible to freeze to death in the Caves and Cliffs update, skeletons are now able to freeze and transform into strays. A fun little detail, but nobody's trying to farm the stray. I often forget it even exists, to be honest. Normally, if you waterlog a slab and then turn it into a double slab, the water will disappear, but using a debug stick, you can in fact create waterlogged double slabs. Besides just being a silly way to create wet bricks and soggy wood, it's also an incredibly useful way to keep coral blocks discreetly hydrated, as they need to be constantly next to water in order to keep their color. When you normally hit an armor stand, it just does a little shimmy, but if you hit an armor stand while sprinting at it, it'll actually get knocked backwards. You could definitely use this mechanic to create some sort of mini game on your next SMP, where you race to get an armor stand to the other side of an obstacle course. Obviously, you can breed rabbits using carrots and golden carrots, though that's pretty wasteful. But can you guess what other item they eat? That's right, it's dandelions, the most common flower in the game. This is because in real life, dandelions are a delicious snack for rabbits, but as cute as they are, rabbits can be a little silly at times. There exists a bug in the game that causes rabbits to occasionally get stuck bouncing forever near the edges of blocks. So if you leave an area loaded long enough, eventually all of the rabbits will just continually hop in place, like they're all part of some sort of bunny rave. I'm currently hurtling towards the ground from over 200 blocks in the sky, but honestly, it's no big deal. That's because even under carpets, powdered snow can completely negate any and all fall damage, no matter how high you're falling from. Since they don't deal partial damage, slow you down, or bounce you into the air, this makes them better than any other block for stopping fall damage. So make sure you've got some cauldrons to farm this stuff. The Nether Star is one of Minecraft's most powerful items, and as such, it's completely immune to explosion damage. Despite this, you can actually still destroy them simply by dropping them on a cactus. The same is true for netherite. It's supposed to be the toughest material in the game and is completely immune to fire and lava. But cactuses? They instantly vaporize your netherite gear. I guess that means my skin is tougher than netherite, because I could literally stand on top of these for 15 seconds before dying, which is more than enough time for me to tell you to subscribe. Is there such a thing as too much XP? Personally, I don't think so, but the game apparently does. If you somehow manage to collect this specific amount of experience, the XP bar just poofs out of existence. How odd. Chances are most players will never see this happen without cheats, but maybe someone with a hardcore series can try and make this glitch happen in survival mode. Milk can be used to remove all potion effects on the player, but apparently honey bottles can also remove effects. Well, they can remove one effect: poison. This is pretty convenient for anyone who's accidentally angered a swarm of bees while trying to harvest some honey, because you'll be able to quickly get rid of any poison the bees inflicted on you. There is another way to get rid of all potion effects, but to be honest, it's kind of random. If you've defeated the Ender Dragon and completed the game, then jumping through the end portal will actually wipe any effects you have. So if you're battle damaged and thinking of eating a golden apple to heal up, I wouldn't bother until you've made it back to the overworld. Everyone knows you can summon slimes and magma cubes that are humongous, but you probably didn't know you can also summon giant phantoms. Even though they always spawn at size 0 in survival, this code was still left in the game, and we can create these monstrous phantoms that deal 70 hearts of damage. If an armor stand falls in fire, it'll immediately burn away. However, if you drop an armor stand in lava and leave it there, it'll never actually be destroyed. This bug is great to use for creating tiny campfires, but to be honest, the idea that these guys are just being endlessly tormented doesn't sit right with me. Hashtag justice for armor stands. A tamed wolf's tail will change its angle depending on how much health it has, being fully up if it's at full health. But what if we give it extra health? Well, its tail will continue tilting up until it eventually rotates into the dog's body. With a ton of extra health and an infinite regeneration effect, this wolf's tail will just keep spinning for a long time. On your screen right now is every single block in Minecraft. No, I didn't place them all by hand. I used the secret debug world generator. All it takes to generate a world like this is to hold Alt on your keyboard and click the world type button until it says debug mode. When the world loads, you'll be presented with all sorts of weirdness. Half beds, floating fires, tons of waterlogged blocks, and so much more. It looks like it'd be fun to do some sort of survival challenge in a world like this, but unfortunately, placing and breaking blocks is completely disabled. Still, it's a pretty cool sight to behold. Let me know which fact was your favorite down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.